welcome to my channel. To start, the first thing that we are going to talk about is understanding the basics of an astrology chart. So to begin, first thing you want to do is you want to head over to astro.com, which is a free online resource where you can get a copy of your astrology chart. Now, to get an accurate astrology chart, the things that you'll need is your birth date, a place of birth, and the time of birth. Those are important to get an accurate reading of the stars in the sky at the time of your birth. And I have an example of an astrology chart, which will be like the one that you pull up when you go to astro.com. And this, you can see up in the top left-hand corner, it's got his name, birth date, time, and the place. Not everybody has the time that they were born. If that's the case with you, you can still make a copy or get a copy of your chart. Just enter 12 noon, and that will get your moon in a place where you can kind of figure out what your moon placement is. The house placements won't necessarily be accurate. You really need your birth time in order to get a correct reading for the house placements, and I will be explaining what that means later on in this video. Next thing that we're going to look at, moving on, is the signs. And the signs are on the outer circle. Those are the glyphs for the signs. So we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. These are the basic, or not the basic, but those are the signs. So there's 12 signs that are around the outside of the circle. Those are the things that you've probably, if you're new to this, used to hearing. When people talk about astrology, people identify with, they've been told that they are a certain sign. It's much more complex than that, and that is what we're going to be learning about. So that's the first. So moving on to the next important component of the chart, we are going to be looking at the houses. There are 12 houses in a chart, and they are on the inside of the circle. So you have the signs, which were on the outside of the circle, and then there are 12 signs. You can see that the circle is divided into 12 different pie shapes on the inside of that circle, and they don't line up perfectly with the signs. So this is actually different forms of different systems of astrology use different ways of placing the signs and the houses together, but the general one on astro.com, and the one that I actually enjoy using the most, is the Placidus system. And this one actually changes the sizes of the houses so they don't line up perfectly with the signs. And so if you look at the inside of the circle, you'll be able to see numbers with the different house numbers on them. And so you have the outer pie shape with the pie slices with the signs on them and the glyphs, and then on the inside you have the inner pie slices. So those rotate differently. They don't rotate together. So you've got like one sliding wheel and another sliding wheel that rotate separately. So that's something that we'll be talking more about and how that plays a part in your chart. The next important part of the chart, which is basic and foundational in the chart, are the planets. So the planets that we have are the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Those planets are considered our personal planets. Those basically, briefly, contain the energy of like our ego, which is the Sun. The Moon is emotions. Mercury is communication. Venus is love and beauty. Mars is energy. Then we have 5 more planets, which are the outer planets, which are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And these planets affect how our inner planets express those inner things that I mentioned, that I just listed, such as ego, emotions, communication, love, beauty, and energy. So those the outer planets, the way that they communicate with each other affects how that energy is expressed. So, and we will go into that into much more detail in following videos. And you can see those placed on the chart on that on those inner pie pieces. Okay, so the last part of the chart that I'm going to be pointing out for now is called degrees and aspects. So if you look at the inner wheel, you'll see the little notches on the inside of the wheel. Each sign is divided into 30 degrees. So to go entirely around the circle contains 360 degrees. Now those degrees in the circle are what are used to create aspects. So how the planets line up with each other depending on their degree. So if you also look at the planets, you'll see that each of them has a number underneath it, and a little line that attaches to the notches in the wheel. Those are the degrees. That is the placement where that planet was when you were born, and the degree in the sky of where it was. And that's important. That's why the timing is so important, because those planets are moving and doing all different things, and it's a snapshot of the sky frozen in time when you were born. I think of it like your cosmic fingerprint. Everybody has their own fingerprint from the time that you were born. So that's one way to look at it. So those are the degrees. Now the aspects, what happens is that sphere gets divided. So from one side of the pie, from one side of the sphere to the other side of the sphere. And that could be split in half, which would be an opposition where you have 2 planets on the opposite side of the sphere. A 1-1 aspect is called a conjunction, which would mean they are right next to each other, or they are right on top of each other. A 1/3 aspect is called a trine. 1/4 aspect is called a square. So, and I will have a video, I'm going to have to dedicate a whole video to explaining that in more detail, because there are many different aspects, and each of those aspects carry a different type of energy. So conjunctions combine the energies of the 2 planets. oppositions, where you have two planets on opposite side of the sphere. And what would happen there is there's a possible imbalance because you're either all one or you're all the other. So you have to be able to find balance in your life with an opposition. Now, at the bottom of your chart, you can see the graph, and that is simply a listing of the degrees up in your chart, and next to it, to the right, is another way to see the aspects that are played out in the chart on the circle. Another thing that I wanted to point out briefly when looking at the chart again is it's like layers of an onion. So you have the layers of the signs, and then you have the layers of the houses. So you have that other circle, which is like another layer, and then you have another layer on top of that, which is like the aspects and how those are connected. So all of these things combined create the foundation for your chart. And I'm really excited to start this series, and because there's so many things to cover. So this is just the beginning. But I hope that it's helped you to understand how to start looking at your chart, because I know that can be confusing, and I'm a pretty visual learner, so I was hoping that presenting it in this visual format will help you to be able to read your chart better and to understand what's going on. So thanks for visiting my channel. I hope that it was helpful and that I was able to post something to help you understand a little bit better. If you liked it, please click the like button. Even better, subscribe for future videos. If you have a comment, leave it down below, or a question, and if I can't answer it, maybe someone else can answer it. And stay tuned for more videos.